Hi everybody, welcome to my homemade face mask tutorial. For the adult mask, you're going to need a piece of fabric, ideally a cotton that you could have close to your face, of 40 by 20 centimeters, 2 pieces of fabric of 10 by 4 centimeters, a pipe cleaner, and 2 pieces of elastic of approximately 25 centimeters each. The first thing we're going to do is run a zigzag stitch along the short edges of the fabric. This will prevent fraying and give a neater finish to the face mask. Next, you are going to fold your main piece of fabric in half with the right sides together. Pin the top zigzag edges together at about 4 centimeters in. Then you're going to sew it with a seam allowance of 1 centimeter approximately. Center your seam allowance and use an iron to press the seam allowance flat. Now you are going to add top stitching to both sides of the seam. I tend to do this as close to the seam as possible, which can be tricky as you don't have a lot of space to maneuver. Turn your mask right side out. Flatten it and position the seam 2.5 centimeters down from the top. Sew an edge stitch around the entire outer edge as close to the edges as possible. This will effectively become the pocket for your filter to rest in. Now we are left with a main pocket and a smaller one. This smaller pocket will be the case for your pipe cleaner. You can use a pair of tweezers or pliers to turn the edges of the pipe cleaner to ensure it doesn't scratch your face. As my pipe cleaner is shorter than the width of my mask, I secured it in place with a pair of pins. Now I am going to close the pocket by running a stitch over or parallel to the previous one I had. Now we'll add 3 pleats to ensure the mask can contour around your face. Your mask will now be approximately 8 centimeters long. Run a stitch over the pleats to make sure they stay in place. Our smaller pieces of fabric will act as bias binding. Center one strip of bias to the back of one of the pleated sides with the right sides together and pin it in place. You should have a little excess on both sides. Sew the bias to the mask using an edge stitch. Repeat on the other side. To finish the bias edges, we are going to fold the bias in towards the mask. As my edges were very thin, I decided to press them down with the iron to make sure they stay in place. Now we are going to fold the bias towards the mask 2 times and pin it securely in place. Repeat on the opposite side. Press your folds with the iron to make sure they're nice and neat. Now we are going to run an edge stitch close to the edge of your binding to create a tunnel for your elastic. Use a safety pin to thread the elastic through the tunnel. Join the edges of the elastic with a quick stitch, or you can even tie a knot. Pull one side of your elastic to hide your stitch in the tunnel. And there you go! Your face mask is ready. All you need is a double tissue paper to use as a filter, and you're ready to wear it out and about. The pipe cleaner is going to be bendy and comfortable around your nose. And here I am, demonstrating how to wear your face mask. What do you think? Will you give it a thumbs up? Now for the kids' face masks, I decided to do a time lapse, so it goes really fast. I try to do 2 at a time if I am using the same coloured cotton thread. That way I can be more efficient with my time and I can keep both my girls happy. Once again, I use cotton fabric and I pre-wash it before starting my sewing project. The measurements will be slightly smaller. I will need a large piece of 15 by 30 centimeters and 2 small bias pieces of 8 by 4 centimeters each. I decided on a different fabric to make them a little bit more colourful. The order of the steps remains unchanged. The only difference is that as we are working with smaller pieces of fabric, our edges will be slightly smaller. For the kids' masks, I decided to use a different type of elastic to make sure it goes all the way around the back of their heads and is not behind their ears. I did this for additional comfort. And here we have the girls demonstrating how the elastic goes all the way around the back of their heads. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay safe and enjoy your face masks.